Hey, this is Matt. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where I'm going to be sharing with you some secrets behind James Franco's hair loss reversal. Obviously, we all know that he got a hair transplant. In fact, there were some other hair loss channels like Hairliciously and More Plates, More Dates, as you can see here, who already made a video on it. But in order to be also a little bit more different, I'm going to be giving you my insights, things that these guys might have not talked about. So if you're excited, make sure you stay tuned until the end of this video, which, by the way, has been brought by Go Fiber, which are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning areas on your scalp. So make sure you check out the link in the description below, where you can visit Go Fiber, get a free sample of your choice, and try them out. See if you like them. Guys, welcome back to the channel once again. My name is Matt, and if you are new to the channel, if you are somebody who is interested in preserving your hair, keeping your hair to look great and potentially even get a successful hair transplant in the future to look as good as James Franco, or maybe even better, then make sure you do two things. Number one, check out my free Facebook group, Hair Transplant Experiences, with over 2,300 members in it, one of the best Facebook groups you can find on topics of hair transplants in the world on Facebook. And number two, check out MattDominance.com if you are interested, obviously, in getting the hair transplant done the proper way, if you want to increase the likelihood of getting a successful hair transplant. Make sure you check out MattDominance.com with different guides on how to research properly, how to find the best hair transplant doctor worldwide, a list of best hair transplant doctors in Turkey, and so on and so on. So make sure you check this out, subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be more content like this one coming. And let's start with the hair loss journey of James Franco and when he started experiencing the first signs of male pattern baldness. Now, fortunately for him, and probably any guy like me included, you watchers as well, would like to change his situation with your, because this guy started like visibly thinning maybe in his mid-30s, late 30s, from the photos I'm gonna be sharing with you. So he's a very lucky guy, actually. And if I would probably assess his hair on the coarseness level, from like thin, medium coarseness to high coarseness, this would be definitely like high coarseness. It's very heavy, thick looking hair, and usually guys like these don't even go like severely bald in the future, which also was his case. At least the guys that I'm seeing, with this type of hair, usually they're not turning into like Norwood 7. If we take a look at his family, like at his brothers with a really similar type of hair, honestly, we don't see them like receding heavily, and none of these two brothers got a hair transplant, by the way, and they're not even like proper Norwood 2s, and they're probably in their 30s, 40s already, like James is. Now, his father, who unfortunately already passed away by the age of 63, we can see him here, also like he didn't like receded. Like he didn't recede severely either, so definitely like they have some pretty good hair genes in the family with some mild baldness, which is normal. Again, there is this statistics which has been shown pretty accurate, that 30% of males by the age of 30 experience some type of androgenetic alopecia, 40% of males in their 40s, 50% in their 50s, 60% in their 60s, and so on. So considering this, the hair loss in their family is really not that bad. When did James Franco start to experience some serious hair loss, or like the transition from Norwood 1, which we can see here, to like Norwood 2? And this is, by the way, 2001. This guy was 23 years old with really no signs of hair loss whatsoever. Now, this started to change for him. I think it was like 2010 to 2014, 15. If we take a look at the movies from this period, you would start seeing this guy with wispier hair around the corners here. Also, the hairline has recessed a little bit. Also, the temporal hairline, which is the hairline on the temples, also receded a little bit backwards, especially between the years 2011 to 2014 all the way to 2016. You will notice some visible hair loss, and the transition from Norwood 1 to Norwood 2 is more and more obvious in these years. Now, in 2016, that was the last year when James Franco had his old hairline and Norwood 2 hairline, and we can see this in this interview. We see that his forehead was also much higher compared to what it is today. So obviously they also lowered the hairline on some areas more, on some areas a little bit less. Let me see some other photo here. You can also see, and this guy was really good at masking his hair loss, especially on his corners, because he has really this thick looking hair, so it's very easy to mask your Norwood 2 hair loss progression and make it look a little bit more Norwood 1 like. Now, this is probably one of the first interviews I was able to find on YouTube right after his hair transplant, and I think he got his hair transplant in the late 2016, early 2017, because this is September 2017, and he already has his temples and hairline reconstructed, and they're already full looking. Now, on the left you can see his hairline from back in 2016, and that was actually the hairline in its worst, really, and it was also masked a little bit on the corners, but especially if we take a look at it from the sides, also we can see the difference. And these photos on the left, they are from the movie Why Him, so you can check it out if you're interested. And on the right, this is already in 2018. I think it was like Oscars or Golden Globes 2018, where the photo on the right was captured. We can already see the temporal hairline that has been reconstructed. Also, the frontal hairline has been lowered. So what they did pretty much, they not only brought the temporal hairline a little bit forward, also the frontal hairline had been, probably lowered a little bit, and it's just squaring off his forehead much better. And you see these white lines also. I mean, if they didn't transplant on the white areas, only on the red zone, then I would say 1000 grafts overall for this hair transplant. But had they also transplanted a little bit further, like towards the mid scalp, then I would say 1400 grafts. So it really pretty much, it's just my estimation, but I don't think it was more, because considering his very coarse hair, you don't need a lot of grafts, because I bet this guy had so many multiples in his donor, like triples and quadruple grafts. So I think they only transplanted some singles for the hairline, maybe like a couple hundred, maybe 300, well, more for the temples, maybe like 4, let's say even 500 singles, and then a shit ton of multiple grafts for adding this thick look and really dense look. So probably another 500 to 900 multiple grafts, and altogether we are looking at probably 3000 hairs transplanted, or even more, with this approach, in my opinion. Okay, because if we zoom onto his hairline, we see it's just looking very soft, no signs of double grafts. Also, his temples are very soft. Now, why his hair transplant turned out so well for the first attempt, and I don't think that he has done multiple hair transplants. I think it was just one hair transplant. He was a great hair transplant candidate, because again, he didn't started losing his hair until like 35 or so, and it tells the doctor that this guy probably won't be losing his hair severely in his maybe 40s, 50s, and he won't likely progress towards the Norwood 7. And his hair characteristics are wonderful. The coarseness of his hair is really high, it's above average. Also, he has this nice, it's not the curly hair that he has, but it has the slight waviness to it. It's not super straight either. That's all creating like wonderful coverage property for that hair when the transplanted hair grows longer. I don't think he got some super crazy high dense packing. If we zoom in, it's actually the hair diameter that he's relying on heavily. It's because of that thick hair diameter of his hair, he is able to pull this off and make it look like it's so super dense and super high density on the hairline, but in reality I don't think it was like much higher than 50, like like something around 45, maybe 50 grafts per square centimeter. And that's it. I mean, that's half of the battle sometimes of, you know, getting or ending up with a good hair transplant is like being a good candidate. That's like sometimes really half the battle is won just by that. If he was somebody like me with really medium to even low hair coarseness, if I would want to have a similar result for the very first time, and I would be like Norwood 2 with my hair type, which is again very low to medium hair coarseness that I have, I would have needed 2 hair transplants very likely to end up with this result, because during the first hair transplant I would have probably chosen the same implanted density as James, something around 40, somewhere like 45 grafts per square on the hairline, but the end result still would not look as dense because my coarseness is not as high, and even my singles, if they are placed in a density of 40, 45 on the hairline, will not look as thick as James's singles if placed on the hairline in a density of 40 to 45 or even 50. So that's why I would need another hair transplant where the doctor would implant another 10 grafts per square or maybe 15 grafts per square. So I would come on maybe like a density of 55 to even 60 on the hairline and end up with a similar visual density as James. But the James could pull it off with only maybe 45, you know, because the diameter is much thicker. Now, why I wouldn't go with 65 grafts per square centimeter on the hairline right away? Because again, it can cause necrosis, restricted blood supply, decreased graft survival rates, and so on and so on. As far as the transplant type that he got, we have FUE, we have FUT. These are the 2 main hair transplant procedures. There are also DHI, like FUE, Sapphire, FUE, Diamond, blah, blah, blah. Not really that important. We have mainly FUE and FUT. FUT is the strip procedure, and FUE is the, you know, isolation method where they extract the grafts, the follicles one by one. And I think the second one is the one that James also got, in my opinion, because if we also take a look at the movie that he kind of played in, like in 2019, where he shaved his head, Zero Will. Now, I haven't seen any signs of, you know, FUT, and I think if he had done FUT, we would have noticed that already, and I think people would have noticed that. His fans, obviously. I mean, he got some tattoo on his, like on the donor area, exactly, actually, where the hair transplants are usually being like done on the, you know, where the hair is usually extracted from. So I don't know if this is coincidence where he's hiding something like scarring. I don't think so. I don't think that you know, he has done a strip procedure, because again, if he wants to be flexible, and he probably also is aware that sometimes it's good to be able to shave your head as an actor to get another type of role, better, like maybe role that is paying you a lot of money. So I think he wants to stay flexible as an actor, so that's why I think he wouldn't have chosen FUT if he didn't have to, and that's why I think he just chose FUE, because if somebody just gets like 1,000 to 1,400 grafts extracted like James very likely got, I think FUE is a better choice. And I don't think that there is one really good hair transplant doctor that would try to talk a patient like James Franco out of getting FUE with his donor, with his hair characteristics, with his hair loss progression. I think FUE just made a lot of sense in his case, in my opinion. So I think that was actually it for this video. Let me know how you enjoyed that. Check out my Facebook group, Hair Transplant Experiences, and my website, Matt Dominance, if you are interested in getting a hair transplant the proper way. You can also apply for one-on-one call with me personally, where I'm going to help you out during your hair transplant research. I'm going to help you find the right doctor. I'm going to help you out with the correspondence phase, where you like messaging back and forth with the doctors. You evaluate different quotes from several hair transplant doctors. I'm going to help you make like sense out of all that and help you choose the right doctor, and also assist you after your hair transplant, stay in touch with you as with many of the guys that I have already talked talk to one-on-one. Okay, so make sure you check out mattdominance.com/mentoring if this is something that you are considering. Okay, so that was it for this video. I'm looking forward to see you in another one, maybe another hair transplant breakdown. If you comment below, maybe somebody I have never done. I have done lots of celebrities already on this channel. Check them out. There's a playlist in the description below you can check out, and if you have some suggestions, feel free to let me know. Take care, guys. I'm gonna see you soon.